Hi, my name is Megan, and I chose Turtle Turtle Watch Out by April Pulley Sayer for my read aloud. And I chose this book because I knew in my student teaching that the kids had already had experience with learning about the parts of turtles and the facts of them, but I don't think they've ever really experienced the joy of reading a book about turtles. So I chose this one because I really liked the illustrations, and I thought it was just a really nice book to introduce the topic of the environmental dangers that turtles face in real life, because all they really know is the parts. So I actually did read this to my students in my student teaching experience, and they loved it. So what I did was I pulled them all together in the carpet. I said, we're going to read a book now. Who here likes turtles? And of course, me. And once I showed them the book and I opened it so that they could see that the cover and the back cover was one whole illustration, they absolutely loved it. They were engaged from the start because they could see that this fish looked like it was going after that turtle, and then they could see a fish here that blended in with the seaweed. So they're naturally curious, so they loved it from the start. So what I did was I introduced the book, I showed them the cover. The book is called Turtle Turtle Watch Out by April Pulley Sayer, and it's illustrated by Annie Patterson. So then I opened up the book and I said, what do you notice about the title page? And a lot of the kids said, there's a turtle, it's in the water. The misleading thing about this picture was that all of the kids thought that it was daytime because they thought that this looked like the sun, when in fact it's actually the moon. So I kind of had to redirect them a little bit, and I said, we'll see if that's the sun or that's the moon when we start reading. So that gathered their interest because they wanted to see whether or not the little tiny turtle was going into the sea during the day or during the night. Late one night on a beach in Florida, a baby turtle story begins. It could be a short story or no story at all, if not for helping hands. Turtle is only an egg now. Her mother's flippers cover her with sand. So I showed the picture. There's the mother turtle. She's covering her eggs, and you can't see them. Why? Because she's on top of them, covering them up. Hungry raccoons watch, and when mother turtle crawls back to sea, furry feet scurry, noses sniff, paws dig. Turtle, turtle, watch out! Young hands holding a flashlight scare the bandits away. So here I ask them, what do you see? And they say they see the raccoons. And who is the helping hands? It's the little boy with the flashlight. They place wire mesh around the turtle's nest to protect buried eggs. Morning comes, so does a jeep. It speeds towards the eggs. And I stop right here because I have to know that they know what I'm talking about. What is a wire mesh? By looking at the picture, what do you think a wire mesh is? And the kids all pointed to this. It's the thing that the kids are putting around the eggs. Those are the helping hands. So then we come over here, and I just want to make sure, what is a jeep? And they raise their hands and they say, a jeep is a car. It's a really big car. So turtle, turtle, watch out! The jeep stops. Hands have put up a painted sign. No driving on the beach, the sign says. The jeep leaves. The turtle nest is safe and undisturbed. Turtle sees none of this inside of her egg. So here you see the small helping hands put up the mesh, and here you see the helping hands put up the sign to tell the cars to stay off the beach. 2 months later, Turtle begins to tear her leathery eggshell. She rips it open with a special tooth. She rocks and wiggles to escape. Then she rests, still half in her shell. Her yolk sac attached to the bottom of her shell shrinks as her body absorbs its energy. A day later, nudging and pushing, she and the other hatchlings dig towards the surface. They scramble, then rest. Scramble, then rest. Their upward journey takes 3 whole days. And I stop here and I go back and I ask them, how long has the eggs been in their shell? And some of the kids answer 2 whole months. And how long does it take for these little hatchlings, which is what you would call a baby turtle coming out of its shell, how long does it take them to come up from where their mother dug them into the sand? 3 whole days. Finally, on a moonlit August night, Turtle peeks out of the sand. Other hatchlings below her are pushing her upward. All around her, the hatchlings dig out. Pushing against the sand, Turtle crawls across the beach. Go to the light. That's all Turtle knows. At night, the brightest light should be the horizon over the sea. Tonight it is not. Turtle crawls toward the wrong light shining from across the street. Turtle, Turtle, watch out! So you stop here and you say, which is the light that little turtle should be going towards? And they say they should be going towards the moon. And here you can see the little wire mesh and the little tiny turtles in the sand going towards that house or restaurant or whatever it is with the big huge light on, with the spotlight on. Small hands switch off the light. Turtle turns and crawls the other way. She scurries towards the ocean waves. Step by step, she journeys down the beach. Animals gather, night herons, cats, and raccoons. They are hungry and they are here to eat the hatchlings. Turtle, Turtle, watch out! And at this point, the kids are expecting the turtle, Turtle, watch out. So at this point, I would say, Turtle, Turtle, and go like this, and all of the kids would say, watch out! So it's fun and it's really engaging for the kids to be able to participate. And then they see the cat, and they see the night heron, and the tiny little turtles that are trying to go towards the light and the sea. Quickly, Turtle scoots to the water. Whoosh! Water picks her up and carries her seaward, then pushes her back towards the beach. Whoosh! Waves tumble her tiny body, then carry her to sea again. She pushes her flippers. She can swim. She swims past hungry fish. Currents catch her and carry her far from shore. So then I ask them what's happening here, and they say, those big fish want to eat her, which is really what it looks like because they're going after her with their mouths open. For months, she drifts in patches of seaweed. She dines on tiny plants and animals. She grows. Currents carry her thousands of miles, circling a wide ocean, until one day she leaves the floating sargassum, a mass of algae. She begins to swim, past islands, past sailfish, past humpback whales. She reaches a coral reef where she spies a tasty jellyfish. Turtle, Turtle, watch out! Splash! Quick hands dip down, grabbing the plastic bag. It looks like a jellyfish, but it's not. It could choke a turtle or clog its belly. So here you see our little turtle. She's a little bigger now. And here is the boat with the helping hands and the bag that looks like the jellyfish. And I asked the kids, why is it important to make sure that our oceans are clean? And then they say so that the animals in the ocean won't get sick. So this is where they're really starting to realize the impact that they can have on the earth. Turtle swims onward. She looks for other food. As she grows, her jaws crack open conches, crabs, and clams. For 20 years, this is her turtle life, until one day she feels restless. And then I asked them, how old is Turtle now? And they answered 20 years old, so she's lived a nice chunk of life so far. And of course, to young kids, 20 years is a lot. It's time for her to travel far and fast. She flaps her flippers like underwater wings. She swims and swims, past ships, sailing and sunken. 3 sharks see her. Turtle, turtle, watch out! The sharks pursue her. No hands can help her now. She swims faster and faster and finally escapes. But she does not see a shrimper's net rushing towards her. Turtle, turtle, watch out! In an instant, she is swept into a net. It drags her down and down. She needs to surface to breathe. The boat pulls, tumbling her back to the net. She is almost out of air when she slips through the escape hatch. She is free. Months before, weathered hands had sewn that hatch onto the net, just so sea turtles could escape. So I stopped here and I said, you know, no one could help her when the sharks were coming after her. But people thought ahead of time to put these escape hatches in their nets just so that sea turtles could escape, because it's so important that we save them. Shaken but safe, Turtle swims on. She meets a male turtle and they mate. Under a summer moon, Turtle swims towards the breaking waves. Thud. Her heavy body hits the hard shore. It is the same beach where she hatched. But now things are different. Now she is the mother turtle about to lay her eggs. One day those eggs will hatch. The tiny turtles will begin their journeys, scrambling across the sand, and some will make it with a little luck and fast-moving flippers and the help of many hands. So here I asked the kids, why did she return to this beach? And some of them had a little bit of a hard time with the concept that animals don't necessarily just pick any random place to go back to. You know, so I brought it back to the beginning of the story when I said, you know, in the beginning of the story when Turtle was a baby, what was the only thing she knew? And they said, go towards the light. That was the only thing she knew. In this part of the story, that's when it clicked. That's the beach she was born on, that's the beach she knows, that's where she knows where to go. So animals don't just necessarily just pick any old place to lay their eggs or to return to. And it was a good little lesson for them. So the end of the book, I went through this quickly with them, and a lot of them, I left the book in the classroom so they could read it themselves. This page says, Helping Hands for Sea Turtles. All 7 species of sea turtles are rare and in danger of extinction. So all over the world, people are helping them to survive. And these bullet points are places in the world in which people are helping sea turtles to survive, and what they're doing in their local communities. Like in Costa Rica, volunteers patrol beaches looking for sea turtle nests and protecting them from poachers, people who illegally steal their eggs. So this is all different things that people do around the world to save them. This one, even people who don't live near beaches are helping sea turtles. And the first little bullet point says, at home, families are reusing plastic bags and making sure their trash is properly disposed. That way their plastic bags won't end up at a beach or out to sea. And in parentheses it says, sea turtles sometimes eat bags accidentally, thinking they are jellyfish. So this is when the kids are really starting to internalize, my garbage goes someplace. My garbage just doesn't disappear when it's taken out of my house. So a lot of the kids were really getting into the discussion at this point, saying, we really have to be responsible, we have to know where our garbage is going and make sure that we recycle and we use paper bags as much as possible, or reusable bags. And this was a really good discussion that we had in class. And this third part is, helping hands in many lands are working for sea turtles every day. and there is a website here called www.seaturtle.org/tracking. This is one really good website that I went to with the kids. I also went to Sea Turtle Conservancy.org. That was also a really great website that I went to with the kids, and I will post that on Blackboard so that you could see it. We tracked the turtles, we saw their movements. You don't see it in real time, so it's something that you do in the classroom over the course of a few days. One day, I believe it was March 7th, we tracked a turtle named Pearl just so I could show them, and then by the time we looked at it again on yesterday, March 13th, Pearl had moved. She was in Bull Bay in Florida, and she had moved way out into sea on the west coast of Florida, and it was really cool for them to see, and we tracked it on our little maps. They made points of where she was when we first saw her and made points of where she was now, and it was really, cool for them to see that she had moved so much in just a few days. This is the end of the book, and this was a really cool conversation that we had too. These are the sea turtle species. So each picture on the side is a specific species of sea turtle, and right next to it is the description of each. So I read the first one, loggerhead turtle. The loggerhead turtle depicted in this book, actually before I read it, I had the kids look at the pictures, and I said, pointing to this page, which was probably the best illustration of our turtle, what kind of turtle do you think that the author used in this book? And I turned back, and they gave each turtle a little look, and they said, this one. And so that's when I read it. The loggerhead turtle depicted in this book is the main sea turtle species nesting along the eastern coast of the United States. Loggerheads also nest in Central and South America, the Mediterranean, Australia, and Japan. So I read this whole thing to them, and it was a really great conversation that we had, talking about all the different types of species and what we can do to save them. So what we did after we read the book, we went on the website, we tracked Pearl, the turtle that we decided to track, because there's a whole bunch of active turtles that are being tracked ongoing. So we waited a few days, then we did a recap of the book after the kids have had a chance to do a journal entry and really synthesize the information. We did a recap. They told me what happened. They told me why things were important, why we should make sure our garbage goes in the right places and doesn't end up in the ocean, and what kind of dangers turtles face in real life. So we had a discussion, and then I decided to have the kids do a creative writing activity, because I had been working with them on creative writing for another story, Corduroy. So for this one, I printed out 5 or 6 pictures of different sea turtles doing different things. Some of them were funny. One of them had a little chef's hat and little utensils in front of them, and it was absolutely adorable. Some of them were just really pretty pictures of sea turtles. So they chose a picture to write about, and they wrote their little creative writing stories, and if I can, I would probably try to upload them and show you a couple of them, but they were absolutely adorable, and the kids loved it. It raised a very good conversation about what they can do to help the environment around them. So I'm absolutely thrilled that I picked this book. It is a great read. If you ever get a chance, go out and pick this up. It was pretty cheap on Amazon. I hope you liked it. Thank you.